Hello everybody, welcome to Glorybringer Games. My name is Jade. Today we're going to be continuing our Limited Fundamentals series by having a conversation about something that is often overlooked by new drafters, and especially those drafters who are learning to play for the first time on MTG Arena. Today we're going to talk about how many lands should be in a draft deck. And just before we get too deep into our topic today, I just want to remind you that I do stream Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 7 to 10 Eastern Standard Time at twitch.tv/glorybringer. Feel free to stop by, ask some questions, and watch some live drafts. Hope to see you there. Alright, let's get started with our topic. When deciding how many land to put into a draft deck, it's important to first consider what type of draft deck it is we're creating. Is it an aggro deck with a low mana curve that's designed to play a lot of creatures and quickly end the game? A mid-range deck designed to play more powerful creatures and removal with a slightly higher mana curve? A combo deck that's looking to combine specific cards to effectively end the game? Or a control deck that is designed to deplete an opponent's resources until we play our final win condition? It's important to make this determination so that we know what our tolerances are for hitting and missing our land drops. Mana curve refers to the distribution of converted mana costs within a deck. Basically, if we create a graph showing the number of spells at each CMC, we would end up with an image similar to the one on screen. More aggressive decks will peak earlier, and mid-range decks a bit later. Control decks playing a lot of early and cheap interaction with more expensive finishers will likely resemble an aggro deck with an early peak, but with a more gentle curve towards the higher CMCs where our higher costed finishers lie. The next thing we need to consider is what is the average converted mana cost of our draft deck. Let's look at an example. First thing that we need to do is add up the total mana cost of all of the creatures and all of the spells within our deck. In this case, when we add them up, we have 79 total converted mana cost across all spells within the deck. We're now going to divide that by the number of cards that are within the deck, in this case 23, to give us our average converted mana cost, which is around 3.4. That is to say that the average spell in our deck costs 3.4 mana. That helps us decide exactly how many mana we need in a game in order for our deck to effectively function. This is a good time to note that Arena does provide this information for you. We can see that they provide the number of creatures, the number of non-creatures, our mana curve, and even our average. So why is this important? It's important because MTG Arena generally defaults to 17 lands, no matter what draft deck you're building. The rule of thumb is often for new drafters to just stick 17 lands in and move on. However, when properly planned, we can maximize the efficiency of our decks by determining exactly how many lands we need in order to properly play a game of Magic. At this point, we've gathered a number of key pieces of information about our draft deck: what its type and game plan are, what the mana curve looks like, what the average CMC of our deck is. All this data can be added up to make our decision, especially when combined with a bit of statistical analysis. On this chart, I have laid out two key pieces of information: the odds of having 2 lands in our opening hand, and the number of draws past our opening hand before we are 75% likely to hit our 5th land. If we are a more aggressive deck, our tolerance may match up to the 15 lands, in which we are 83% likely to have 2 or more lands in our opening, and it will take around 8 draw steps to get to our 5th land drop. If we're a more controlling deck and need to hit our lands in a more regular fashion, we may lean towards 17. In either case, we now have all the information we need to make the decision. Thanks for watching, and happy drafting.